Hello, people. This is the Drunkduck Quackcast. I'm Ozone Ocean. With me are Tarts and Bean.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You should say howdy. Okay. This week we're talking about ridiculously over-expert versions of professions displayed in media.
Mm-hmm.
And I need a title because I'm not going to write that in a title.
Overqualified.
Overqualified. Okay. That's something. Overqualified and overplayed. Overqualified and overplayed.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's the title. Oh yeah. All right. Theme song. Okay, so yeah, now we're back, and we're talking about overqualified and overplayed. That's our topic, but before we do that, we've got to get into the featured comic. This week, Quackcast has given us the Drunkduck Awards 2025. So, Quai, tell us about that now.
Oh, yeah.
And go vote. People, go vote.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I've selected for this week is Drunkduck Awards 2025 by Nicia, and it is rated E for everyone. Welcome to the 17th Annual Drunkduck Awards, where every duck detective from gumshoe to chief is invited. The inquisitive Nicia is this year's master of ceremonies. Fans of Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories are in luck. This year's theme is whodunit, or rather loosely, mystery. The Drunkduck Awards are user-run. Eligible comics may submit for your consideration pages to increase visibility before the official ballot. Winners will be voted by the Drunkduck community, currently accepting volunteers to be judges and presenters during the award show. Take out a magnifying glass and a double-billed houndstooth wool hat and read Drunkduck Awards 2025 by Nicia, rated E.
That was the Drunkduck Awards. Tance and Baines are really into this. Vote. Okay.
Vote.
Vote. After that, we have Gummoss. He has done a theme this week for a comic called Machine World. Desolate plains, the image of post-apocalyptic destruction, black rocky sands, rusting steel wreckage, the massive skeletal remains of long-dead machinery, haunted, ancient, abandoned, yet humanity persists. Take it away, Gummons, with your theme to Machine World. That was the theme to Machine World, which is a comic on Drunkduck by Hamburger Mafia, and it's rated M for mature. So all you mature people go and look at that and see how it compares to the music. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about the overqualified and overplayed. Oh my god! I'm just going to keep on going on about that because it's easier to conceptualize than any of my other explanations. So it's it's about these exaggerated versions of professions that are always portrayed in fiction, whether it's movies, TV, comics, books, whatever, music videos, who knows. But
Pretty much anything, I would say, like anything.
Yeah, it's just a thing. Exaggerated versions of professions, and why do they do it, Tance? Why do they exaggerate professions? In this, is it because the creators don't know what they're doing, and they just imagine that these are the traits that are associated with these professions, or do they do it for any specific reason, like
Yeah. Well, depends, I guess, on a case-by-case basis. But that said, I think that a big reason is that, first of all, often, not always, often the creator is not trained in that profession, and so certain methodologies and certain realities are beyond their experience. That's one thing. The other thing is maybe they are trained in that profession. They know that certain things are necessary but boring, and they just shorthand it into something that is much more, impressive, digestible, and interesting. So, because, for example, a detective, let's take a detective in, in the police and conducting an investigation. There's a very specific methodology, a lot of theories of how you should go about it, how long you should take, all of that. None of it involves, tossing the suspect over the table or, smashing their head on the table or something like that, because that would get you canned, and you would never get a confession or any kind of clue that you can use in any way. Um, but it can be, if you are not, a nerd that is interested in those things, it can be very boring to write, unless you are very accomplished. Because, for example, um, there are certain scenes written very close to reality that are very exciting, but it's not very easy to do them. And usually you have like the hard-boiled detective that is on the fringes of what is correct, but they always do the thing,
the maverick doing it their own way.
Yeah.
Shouted out by their, I don't know, captain.
Yeah.
You're a loose cannon. I want your badge. It's the last time.
Exactly. And like nobody talks about how the loose cannon would produce fruit of the poison tree, which means the prosecutor will never be able to use any of the stuff that the loose cannon found. So, the suspect, the perp, can flip their way all the way to Bali legally. All of that. So,
well, they do have a prosecutor. Then they're described as the bad guy because they go, look, I can't use any of this. I need you guys to handle it. No, you'll have to go back and give me the proper evidence because look, we can't proceed with this case. Oh, look, you're killing me. You're right in my ass. I can't do this with you. Oh my god,
Yeah.
The prosecutor's the bad guy for wanting to do it right.
Exactly, and that would be very unrealistic, but it does make for good TV. Having
right.
No, especially if it's not the bad guy. The prosecutor is just the antagonist. That they are on the same team, but one wants to do things by the book. Oh no, how dare they? And the other wants to just kick the shit and the confession out of it. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it would basically not be at all realistic, and perhaps not good TV if they do it properly. So there's one thing like that, and that goes for a lot of professions, from medicine to psychology for sure, and psychiatry, and or even art, like
Oh yeah, the perfect artists who just can do any style. I mean, like you think like an overplayed version of an artist would just be automatically able to do like photorealistic images of anything.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the things. Usually they can do art in any style and do it perfectly. Oh, you want 1920s abstract expressionism? Oh, just do, yeah, this is the best ever. And someone goes and buys it for like $1 million.
Or they have photographic memory, like they see something and then they can just draw it like they are like they are a camera, maybe a week later, because they are an artist and they can draw exactly what they saw 3 years ago. Which yeah, when I draw my own characters, I have to keep flipping between the character sheet, assuming I have one, or the details I have to remember. Like, did I draw everything right? Let's triple check that I did everything right, and then I realize after the fact that I used like the wrong arm is missing.
Yeah, I do that. Like I will double and triple check and still get everything wrong.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
20 sheets in front of me, and I look at every single image and I still get it wrong.
Exactly. Or for example, if you are a writer, the writer's thing, like the writer uh, gets the news and then they write, and they are in like some kind of trance where they keep writing, and uh, the masterpiece comes out immediately. Like the first draft is the final draft. And they never go back and forth. They never edit anything. They never say, "Oh my God, how could I not have seen this? I have to go back to chapter one and rewrite every scene where this character does that they shouldn't be doing." That sort of thing.
Or the other thing is, like, they'll screw up 1,000,000 pages,
Yeah.
and that will all be in the bin. Yeah, and then they'll write their perfect one. But yeah, they won't be re-editing it. They'll either be screwing it all up, or succeeding the first time. But
Exactly. Or I have, as a psychologist and or a teacher, and teachers are portrayed like either incredible creatures that immediately inspire, like they just need two two lessons, like two classes, two periods, like sessions, whatever, um, and then their class is immediately enthralled with them, uh, and everybody shifts and changes immediately, and they all become their better selves, because this teacher is this amazing person, that does it all. And then, of course, they will go and seek them out, and find where they live, and go talk to their parents, uh, and throw these amazingly emotional speeches, and
the teachers care so much about the students and the lesson.
yeah, and or they will go completely on the other side of the spectrum, and they will be, a-holes that hate everything, and they love to torture. They basically were a Nazi in a past life, and they run their class like a concentration camp, and they take special pleasure in watching torture, and all that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
don't get teachers like that, but they are very, very extremely rare.
I think most teachers really just don't care either way. It's a job to them.
I would venture to say, having been a teacher, also taught teachers, and also helped teachers solve problems in their classrooms, that most teachers care. However, there are certain limits to what a teacher can do, how much they can do it, and also how much time, resource, energy they have in order to be doing certain things. Um, Sometimes it comes down to just not enough funds, overworked, burned out, and depressed. So they cannot, you know, follow you and find you and talk to your mom about how you must follow your dreams and you know and, and, and then personally drive them to an ambition in the other side of the country or something like that. So, sometimes they can, but it's not like you shouldn't expect that of teachers. uh, and it's insane because if teachers were portrayed properly, you would get amazing stories that are realistic and show exactly how a teacher is an amazing is a catalyst in the classroom, but not like that. So
That's true. Baines, what about musicians depicted in fiction? Can we think
Well,
of
it's
any?
funny. You were just talking about the yeah. She was just talking about the detectives, lawyers, teachers, and everything. And I was thinking of wedding singers. I just watched this movie,
What, The Wedding Singer?
and in the opening scene, yeah. Oh, how'd you guess? And the wedding is sort of sent off the rails by a sort of drunken jackass of a best man making a speech and sort of embarrassing everyone. And the wedding singer saves it. He takes over the speech and totally saves it, saves the relationship as far as we can see. And he's the best wedding singer. And a lot of times it's that, right? Particularly the protagonist is the best. They're the
Yeah.
best at what they do, and you see them up against the other, like the average or whatever, to an unrealistic degree a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is,
Definitely applies to all musicians.
mhm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, a lot of musicians. It's done that way. They're
Yeah,
really
or
brilliant songwriters. Brilliant.
yeah, animal experts as well. They are
Oh,
immediately like they immediately understand everything about the animal. Immediately. Uh,
right.
and
Yeah,
while
whatever
that,
animal it is, they can talk to it. They can
yeah,
mind meld with it.
yeah, um, yeah. And the thing is, the problem with that is that it creates expectations of professionals that are impossible to meet, either because, again, they are portrayed in a way that would appeal. Like, yeah, how do we make this profession exciting? Let's give them magic powers, basically, within that profession. And then when you don't have the magic powers, even though you are an expert and you are one of the best in your job, it's still not to that completely unrealistic level.
The magical. You know, they create some unrealistic expectations for people in those jobs, and you have these idiots who think, "Oh yes, that wild bear. I should go up and pat it and talk to it and make a friend," and the bear goes and kills them. So
Yeah,
that actually happens.
unfortunately. Oh, or karate instructor, like martial arts instructors.
Not everyone can
Oh,
be
yeah.
a real life Steven Seagal, Towns. That's just.
Like they are all one man army. Like and they are all like they have all like a gazillion done in their martial art, and they know absolutely everything there is to know, and they also know the philosophy fully, and they can travel to whatever is the country of origin of the martial art, and
Yeah,
make
automatically become
yeah
worshipped because, oh my god, even though you're not from our culture and don't speak our language, you're the best ever, and oh my god,
yeah
just give you everything.
yeah exactly.
Steven Seagal literally did that. He went to Japan.
Musicians also.
Yeah, go on.
I talked over you. Musicians
Go for it.
also can play any song just with the title, shout it out, or just a quick count. This is in the key of B. And it's just like
What
even
does
if
that
the
even
band
mean?
potentially has never played with this person before, it's like they're all right in sync. It's like it's really hard to know every song. I mean, some top tier people.
Yeah, like
Paul Schaefer's seem to do it, but
yeah, I don't understand that. But they know every song. They know all the parts.
Yeah.
And
they never
play any
need
instrument.
they never need to practice really. Like, yeah, they are shown
right.
practicing, but they are already perfect. Yeah, I'm practicing while I'm playing like a virtuoso that, you know.
I still don't get like people who can play all the instruments. Like there are people who can just play any instrument.
Okay.
Those are magic people to me.
Yeah, but can they play every instrument like an expert in that instrument? That's a different. That's the thing.
Well, I imagine they can't, but who knows? But because it's so, to me as a non-musician, they seem to be experts at everything. So I would be the best writer to write a musician because I would write them being a magical person who can automatically do everything. It would be, oh, that's a bassoon. Oh yeah, sure. I'll just play that in the harp and the harpsichord
and they would also have a mastery over the emotional state of the crowd. They'd be able to make them happy, make them sad, make them all dance. Yeah.
They basically are the Pied Piper with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pied Piper. Do you know what pied means in a Pied Piper?
I don't know. Paid, maybe. I don't know.
No. Do you know what pied means, Ben?
No.
It means different colours.
Oh, really?
Pied Piper means so that refers to his clothes. So he would have like a red square here and a green part there, and a red. One of his leggings would be this colour, and one would be the other colour. Yeah, that just means someone wearing different colours. So there you go. That's a bit of information for the Drunkduckers there.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's why he was called the Pied Piper.
Right.
Maybe that's why all those kids were following the exciting
Exactly.
wardrobe.
Fancy dress man.
Yeah.
What are some of your favourite depictions of expert super characters? I'm thinking about in musicians. Jack Black in School of Rock.
Oh yeah, he's fun.
He fits into the teacher paradigm also. After one bad class, he starts turning it away.
Yeah, I like the OG original Sidney Poitier in To Share with Love. I really like that as a teacher.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Great theme song to that, To Share with Love.
Yeah, for sure. And I also really like. Oh my God, what is the? I'll find the title, but it is again a teacher story where the main character is a dance teacher played by Antonio Banderas, and he basically helps truant children, truant students, and deviant students and stuff to become like more school aligned by basically the extracurricular of teaching them ballroom dancing. And it's a very well done movie based on a real story, and I will find the title right now. I think it's like Walk the Line or something. I'm not sure it's that.
Bless me. Oh, God. It's interesting. Well, I mean, what really funny. Oh,
the title is Take the Lead. Take the Lead.
Take the lead.
Yeah. It has awesome tango as the scenes. Yeah.
Speaking of that, there's the movie Strictly Ballroom. With I don't know who's the director of that. Baz Luhrmann, Australian director. In that you have this expert, ballroom dancer. But even so, and you expect him to be portrayed, as being like a super magical version of a ballroom dancer. But in that, I don't think they did go to that extent. They do portray the failings and an imperfect kind of person at that profession, which is good. I mean, so sometimes fiction does do things the right way. We were talking before about medical depictions of things, and we brought up Scrubs. Well, I brought up Scrubs. In that's a silly sitcom about a hospital and the failings of various doctors and the administration and all that kind of stuff. But that, even though that's a silly comedy, that's portrayed far more realistically than any hospital drama that I can ever remember, because the doctors aren't superhuman there, and often, they can't cure stuff, and people die, and the doctors even make mistakes that end up harming people and killing them, which is, just like reality. Things go wrong with people, and people prescribe the wrong things, and or just aren't able to diagnose stuff in time, and that's really people just die all the time in that show. So
another realistic
excellent.
Another realistic one I really like, showing expert doctors, like the best in their field, all right, but also student doctors and doctors that are wet behind the ears and all that, is The Pit. It's a series about an ER in Pittsburgh, I think, and they call it.
The Pit.
And it is basically it's like 24, but in the ER, and you will just spend a day with like a shift, not even a day, a shift with these people. And it feels very much like what I experienced as a helper, an EMT and surgeon helper for my training as a Red Cross first responder. And we had to basically be in the ER and help with everything after training. And it feels very much like that. And
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So there are different levels. You can either be House or you can be someone who has a little bit more
House is very magical and super unrealistic, and I generally don't like House as a character myself. I like Hugh Laurie and I like how he plays him, but as a character, he's I don't like him. So
well, we've covered military stuff before. And we did this whole Quackcast on the ex-special forces. But that's an excuse to have your military people as super-duper experts, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's why they do it. Because they're always super-duper at everything they do.
Yeah. They're magic. They are superheroes without the cape, basically.
They really are. They can do anything. And their guns just keep firing and firing and firing. They're just can use any. Let's see. John Wick. So John Wick is like something like a lot of people absolutely love, and it portrays a hitman who is like a super perfect hitman. And I mean, like the profession of a hitman doesn't even exist. There are no such thing as hitmen. So this not only has a fictional profession, it has someone who is fictionally good at it. So he's super good at something that doesn't even exist, which is like a double whammy, quadruple whammy. And we got spies as well in various films, James Bond, all that kind of stuff. There's no field agents in any spying organization who have even a tenth of that ability, or a tenth of that amount of things that James Bond is expected to do. Field agents just are never, you have a whole... Oh, actually, speaking of whole teams, Bones, this TV series about these magical abilities to...
Absolutely, yeah.
To do forensic stuff. They can find out, like, anything from just bones alone or whatever, but it was interesting reading about actual people in the field and them commenting on it and saying, oh, that guy who works out about the bugs and the sand, that he represents basically a team of people. You wouldn't just have him doing it. That the work that he does would be produced by like 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that's what you have people who are like avatars of a profession, and they they represent this profession or this expertise, but it's because the writers really can't have they can't do 10 different characters in this role, so they just have one person being the expert.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bones is like this the meme, the enhance meme on steroids, basically. But yeah, absolutely. And there is also, I am still sort of convinced that it's not just that, they create avatars of entire teams of people. I think that sometimes there is just not enough knowledge within the about the profession and how things are done, and they just have one person do like 3 different uh, areas of expertise. And I'm thinking, like, for example, a psychologist is going to be prescribing drugs, or a psychiatrist, and then conducting specific screening tests, and also then designing a treatment plan, and then assessing this this plan, and then doing, all of these things I said are supposed to be done by different experts that see the person, and someone else will do the screening, someone else will be prescribing the drugs only, or will be suggesting what kind of drugs to be prescribed. You will need to confer with the person's doctor, just so that you don't prescribe something that interacts with some other drug they might be taking. All of these things. It is a team of people, but you will never see that, or at least almost never see that. You see one amazing psychologist or psychiatrist, especially a psychologist that prescribes drugs. That's no, that's a psychiatrist and a psychologist mushed into one person.
I always get them confused, thanks to media. Think about they have a psychologist character in Bones. There's that I always think of him as McLovin, because he was in that film Superbad, and he still looks like a child even though he's an adult man. McLovin, he's he's the expert psychiatrist or something. One of those things.
If I remember right, I think he's like a forensic psychiatrist or something like that. He's a profiler, maybe, if I remember right. I don't remember him
he works as a psychiatrist for the team. Like, he interviews them and stuff like that, and he
doesn't he also work on cases with them?
Well, yeah, for some reason he becomes a field agent and he gets a gun and he becomes a super psychologist, psychiatrist, doing everything. McLovin is just amazing. So not only can he get alcohol as a child and get
you know what is realistic though? That there is one thing that is realistic in Sweets, and it is that he is not taken seriously.
Sweets, that's his name. Sweets McLovin.
Yeah. He is not taken seriously as a professional by the quote unquote hard sciences people. there is this.
Mm.
This is not as much a thing anymore, at least not to my experience, but there had been a rift between the soft sciences and the hard sciences, and is psychology a science at all? Is it mumbo jumbo? That sort of thing, which translates a lot in people like doctors dismissing um, psychological stuff and elements in a person's condition, unless they are a woman, then she's always hysterical. But beyond that, they will not really or easily consider that stress, for example, might be exacerbating a situation, and you need to first, pull those down and then work on whatever, so on and so forth. So, and on the flip side, the psychologists tend to dismiss the doctors in what way? They will see a person having a set of symptoms, behavioral, I mean, symptoms, and they will immediately start, exploring and diagnosing the person, based on the DSM, which is the directory of mental illnesses that have been codified, without first screening this person for whether they have an actual physical condition, like, for example, a hormonal imbalance, or they have some other kind of condition that is also producing behavioral patterns that resemble a lot.
Yeah. Could be a brain injury or something.
Yeah. For example, a brain injury. We go immediately. Oh, this person has PTSD. Maybe he has a TBI, or maybe he is not schizophrenic. Maybe they are on something. They are on drugs that cause this, even after they have treated it, so on and so forth. So it's
You know
not
what?
just one; it's reciprocal.
Speaking of that, like there was one of these, how the stupid social media has dumb memes and stuff like that. One of them was this showing these French soldiers from World War One, and it was showing these like video of French soldiers from World War One after World War One, and these guys were like shaking like this, shaking and moving around and like having weird expressions. I was saying this is PSD from the First World War, and all these people going, "Oh my God, the horrors this person experienced result in this." And I looked at these images and thought, "It's not PSD. That person's got a frickin' brain injury. You can tell. PTSD does not manifest in that constant vibrations of this person and weird expression. That's a brain injury. You idiots."
Exactly.
Oh dear. But that's what they got from constant concussions on the head, resulting in lesions on the brain, and so that's But these people weren't obviously psychiatrists. They were just people who imagined they had some ability to understand.
But usually, in a movie, the psychologist or the doctor or the psychiatrist will immediately know what is wrong with the person, often without even performing the test. Like they will just look at the person and say internal bleeding. Immediately they have that. How do you know? Omniscient one. That's
This person has internal bleeding. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what organs that's from?
Yeah.
You got your eyes working as an MRI. Is that how it goes?
Or for example, this person is suffering from a dissociative disorder that we have to treat in this specific way to be able to bring their memories forward, and then we will be able to understand what happened. How do you know they have a dissociative disorder? By just looking at them. It's like, why? Because they spoke to you rudely? Is that the way that you got? And of course, they of course are always right, always correct, and they always know exactly what happened. So
Exactly. That's one of the things. People are always tend to be always right. And it's like way more interesting when these expert characters are wrong about things. Completely wrong. It leads them down the wrong path, and that's like way more entertaining.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Now, can we think of any examples of that in fiction?
Examples of that in fiction.
About people being wrong.
I think it happens a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I like, plot device maybe I can think of is the detective or the lawyer where they go down a garden path of a red herring trail, for example, and then they say, we were all wrong about this, when they get the epiphany. That's the only one I can think of.
That is often a plot twist in detective shows and stuff. The better detective shows when, like, or a lawyer defends someone. Oh my god, I'm the best lawyer in the world. I'll get you off no matter what. And it, like, I believe in this person. Obviously, they're innocent of this, and it turns out you played me all along. You were guilty, and you tricked me, bastard.
Right.
That happens quite a bit. That's good.
It does, but I think in a way that doesn't count because the person is still the best, but it was some external thing.
You're right.
That
You're right.
made them wrong. It's not a flaw in themselves. So
True.
To be more legitimate, it should be a flaw within themselves where they didn't look closely enough, or they didn't whatever
and they failed.
It's done.
Rumpole of the Bailey.
Like in A Few Good Men.
I remember one. I think the movie is called The Dark Place. It has one of the better depictions, or a very good depiction of chronic PTSD that doesn't manifest, in the way it does in Rambo. It's a different kind of PTSD of the main character. And all the other comorbidities that happen, which is like other mental illnesses and problems that occur at the same time with the main issue. But the main plot is that this character is accused of, or actually not accused, is forced to point a finger and accuse her brother of murder. And it's a horrible interrogation that was done of her when she was a child, and you see how badly it was done, and because genuinely the detective believed that the older brother had done the murder, and was just pushing for extra evidence and stuff. And of course, um, it's known in general that children have to be interrogated or interviewed basically in a very specific way. Otherwise, you run the very real risk of having the child mirror, and means they will tell you what you want to hear as soon as they understand what you want to hear because they want to please adults. So you have to be extremely careful how to do this. So you have this little kid that basically does this exact thing. And this detective is extremely happy that, the case is solved. And then this detective has to grow in order to start to even consider that they may be wrong about something where they are very, very certain due to bias. So that's the one. That's a very good movie as well. I would highly recommend it. It stars Charlize Theron as the main character, the girl that obviously grows up.
What is it? What is it called?
I think The Dark Place. I'll just check it real quick, but I think that's the title.
Oz is like playing craps as we're playing dominoes.
That's me getting my dice out.
Okay, so it's called the Dark Places, not the Dark Place, Dark Places,
Dark.
and it stars Charlize Theron. Really good.
Oh, good old Charlize. She's a creepy lady.
Yeah, excellent performance by the way, and she does an excellent job of showing how difficult it is to be around a person that suffers from chronic PTSD and from defiant disorders and a whole range of stuff that very reasonably happens to her that she develops. Um, and also how she slowly, very slowly heals. That's another thing. The cause is like the therapy works incredibly quickly, or
Yeah.
or
Right.
the therapist tells the person what is wrong with them, and they have this epiphany, and then in 5 minutes they are cured, perfect, calm,
Yeah.
smooth, no symptoms.
Yeah, like the old bullet digging out of the body.
Exactly. It's the equivalent of bandages heal everything, and extracting the bullet always means instant relief. You know.
That's how it works. I was thinking another example of someone getting things, an expert not being an expert, is this excellent, I don't know, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is a great Coen Brothers anthology film. It's got like a whole bunch of different stories packed together. But Buster Scruggs is the first part, and he's this amazing expert cowboy gunslinger. He's all dressed in white, and he always wins a duel every single time. And he's this great singer as well. And yeah, he's just like, he's in the middle of this disgusting bar, and there's this gigantic cowboy played by Clancy Brown, I think his name is. And there's this huge guy, and he's like drawing a gun on Buster Scruggs, and Buster Scruggs doesn't even draw his gun. He just like bashes the table or something, and that makes the guy shoot himself like 3 times in the head. It was just incredible. He without even drawing his gun, he can beat people. But in the end of his story, he gets into like a duel with some guy dressed in black, and he goes to draw and fight, and the guy just kills him. Bang! Buster's dead, and that's the end of Buster. So
amazing, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. So your expert super guy can still fail, and that makes him even better somehow. That makes him even more impressive. That's the weird contradiction of that. So
Right.
I would not recommend necessarily the entire Buster Scruggs. I mean, like the entire film maybe, but just that particular story is really cool.
Yeah, I kind of
Entire
remember
film is
that
cool.
one. I don't think I can remember anything else about that movie. I know I've seen it. But, yeah.
The other stories are very sad, basically.
Mm.
That one's
Right.
fun because it's also a musical. The other ones are they're more realistic and they're more sad.
Mm.
Yeah. You want a whole movie just about Buster Scruggs,
Right.
not just a short. But anyway, there we are. I was just going to bring up a different aspect of the expert.
I would also say that an expert written well and badly, depending on who writes stories about him, is Sherlock Holmes. So you can have him be basically magical. Like immediately he scans the room and whatever else it is that he's looking at, and he knows like the most minute details of what has happened in the room or whatever. to the point that you cannot tell why he deduced what he deduced. You just know that the writer knows it's true and correct. That's the only thing you know. And that's a bad way to write a detective, a genius detective, because he is a genius detective. So that's a bad way to write a genius detective because basically you give him clairvoyance. Uh, Whereas other writers, having written Sherlock Holmes, and of course the original, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, is you can tell why he's deducing, and it takes him time. Like he doesn't immediately know what's going on, and sometimes he comes really close until he to really close to not getting what is happening. But then, of course, he does. And that's the correct way to write him, especially when we follow his point of view in some way, where he notices certain things. And if you pay attention enough, you can understand where this is going and what probably is happening. So that is the right way to write him because he still is a genius because he pays attention to certain things that normally other people wouldn't, but not to the point
Yeah.
that he is clairvoyant. So
Yeah, he's meant
Yeah.
to seem like a genius to people who aren't in the know. That's why, because Watson is the one writing about him. It's from his perspective. And Sherlock is a genius to Watson, but not necessarily a super genius in reality. It's an unreliable narrator. I think that's how you
yeah, for sure.
yeah. So that's why he's a genius, and a lot of people who write it or depict him don't understand that. Don't understand the reason why he's so genius and so amazing is because that's how Watson sees him.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily objectively like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely assume that he is extremely efficient, right? He knows, he's very experienced, he knows how to do things, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Watson hero worships him, at least. He might also, have a crush on him. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think he doesn't really have a crush because he's Watson very much got his own life and his own loves and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Well, I don't know that. He might have a man crush on him.
it's that's an aspect of Sherlock Holmes that is not covered. Interestingly, but yeah, that's a good example, Tans. My goodness me, yeah, Conan Doyle. He was an interesting writer. In that, I love him in that because even though he's obviously Conan Doyle was not a forensic doctor or any of that kind of stuff. He was, he was a doctor, but obviously he was not a super detective like Sherlock, and he could still write Sherlock in that way because it's from Watson's point of view. So it's looking at a character from an external point of view, which means you have an excuse as a narrator, as a story creator, to make him that way because that's how this other person sees him. Whereas, say, Conan Doyle wasn't so great at doing other characters. Like there's this Hussar he writes about, and who is like really tall and really strong and able to do this and that. He makes a whole bunch of errors because French Hussars are never tall, they're never gigantic, and whatever. I won't go into that one because I haven't read him for a while, so my knowledge won't be as sharp as it should be. But yeah, he was made a few basic errors. All right, so we've got 5 minutes left. What are some examples of things we can bring up? Our favorite examples of overplayed characters. Overqualified and overplayed. Yeah. So, obviously, Tance, your favorite is House. You love him. You want to marry him?
Yeah, he would not survive me. A best.
Biggles is one of my favorites. The best fighter pilot ever in the world that ever existed, and he can fly any plane. He can just do anything. He's the best. I love Biggles. He's cool.
Oh my god, I'm trying to think. Oh my god. I'm drawing a blank right now.
You're blanked. Baines, what about you? Best at anything?
There's lots. I like. I always think about Alan Shore from Boston Legal. We used to talk about more often. I haven't seen it in years, but he could win if he took a case and believed in it. His speeches could win. I think he maybe lost once, but I remember in the whole series. But yeah, his speeches were superhuman and powerful.
Boston Legal, excellent.
Yeah, I really like Boston Legal as well. And major crimes. I really like that. And once again, the closer again. I really like the closer. The Southern Belle sort of detective lady that always makes sure that the perp settles and pleads guilty, and they never go to trial.
Okay, that's an interesting aspect.
Yeah, she's amazing. I really like that, and of course, unrealistic but amazing. And one of my favorite characters, honestly. Now that I think about it, and MacGyver. There you go.
Oh, he's an expert.
MacGyver.
Everything.
Yeah, he's an expert.
Yeah, he knows all chemistry, all physics, all of the hard sciences. He knows. So.
He's just amazing. Well, okay, my favorite detective obviously has to be Magnum PI. He's the best detective. Well, actually, he's not, because he fails a lot. And that's what made him good. So I can't bring him up as a super expert, because he failed. Which made him good. But it makes him fail this particular position. So I'm sorry, Magnum. You're not super fantastic at everything. So you can't be there.
It's very easy to fall into that thing as a writer, like having your character win.
I have indulged in Nikos from Brave Resistance, but he does have his limitations. And when I upload the script, everyone will get to see that. So.
I mean, like my characters, Pinky, she's not a super expert at fighting and doing everything like that, so she fails. Alright, this has been the Failcast. Or the Expert Cast, I'm not sure. It's all of those things. Thanks for listening to... Oh, sorry, Tans, go.
No, go.
Thanks for listening to Quackcast number 744. This has been Ozone Ocean.
Yay!
And thanks.
And Casey and Finnegan. Mr. Dresser.
And Sweets McLovin.
Oh.
Best psychiatrist ever. And psychologist.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I hate other ones, but not him.
Alright, goodbye.
Bye.